Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining. While we were in backstage, we were laughing, having a really, really good time. That's why you can see smiles and giggle. We've been trying different things. We're very excited to introduce IP Infusion, who's been a very loyal and long-standing TIP member. And they are sponsors at Fyuz, and Fyuz is in November 11th through 13th in Dublin. Gorgeous venue, amazing agenda, great networking. But this is all about IP Infusion, how they participate in OPT. So let's do quick introductions. And I'm going to do it in a fun way. Eugenia Jordan, I'm the CMO at TIP. I'm an inventor with 12 patents, started the new market category with Open RAN. I'm also a leadership book author. It's right there behind me. I am a mom of a college sophomore. That's his little picture. And I'm a dog person. So Kelly, introduce yourself and tell us, are you a dog person or cat person?
Well, I'll have to go with dog, Eugenia, but I'm not biased. I can also enjoy being around cats, but I don't have either. And my name is Kelly LeBlanc. Thank you for inviting us today, Eugenia. I'm the Chief Marketing and Product Officer for IP Infusion. I'm based at our headquarters here in Santa Clara. I've been with the company for 2 years now and have had the pleasure to know Eugenia, gosh, for over 10 years, I think now. So looking forward to our webinar together.
Welcome, welcome. Prasanna, would you like to introduce yourself? And then we'll go to Arturo and he'll kick off this session for us.
Yeah, hi, I am Prasanna Kumar. So working as a technical marketing engineer in IP Infusion. So in IP Infusion, I have been working more than 12 years. So I'm a dog person. So whatever you have asked for, right? So yeah, so thank you. Let's have fun.
Let's have fun and get educated at the same time. And last but not least, Arturo.
Thank you, Gina. I used to be a dog person. Now I have a cat, so I need to say I'm both. My name is Arturo Mayoral. I'm a technical program manager at TIP. Right now, managing the OPT community for approximately 2 years. Former at Meta as a technical program manager as well, and on Telefonica. My background is in optical transport networks and SDN, and this is going to be one of the topics that we are going to cover during the session. So hope that you will enjoy.
Thank you very much. So in this session, Arturo will talk about OPT. It's one of TIP's project groups. And then Kelly and Prasanna will talk about IP Infusion products and solutions and how they address challenges we're seeing in the market. And then last but not least, we have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Tell us where you're calling from, and let's begin.
Thank you, Gina. So we are going to start today with a brief introduction about the Open Optical and Packet Transport project group at TIP. I'm assuming that most of you are familiar with the work that we have been done. In the next slide, we are going to introduce the agenda for today. This project group overview. We are going to go through the progress of the project and the plans for this year. And finally, introducing the latest mantra, subgroup activity around IP over WDM, where it is also a linkage with our host sponsor in this activity, which is IP Infusion, which will develop it more. And last but not least, also introducing some highlights of what you will expect on Fyuz this year. Next slide. Right, so as I was saying, OPT or Open Optical and Packet Transport project group is a vibrant and active community since almost 6 years already. We have an excellent lineup of tier 1 operators leading this project group, is an operator-driven activity, and most of the subgroups are also led by the operators which are represented in this slide. Since 2019, the community has gone through the publication of a high number of technical requirements and white papers, footprints, and also test plans, which will pave the way for the industrialization of open transport technologies. We have more than 15 operators. We have a vibrant community of vendors and technology providers, which are actively contributing to the development of the community by introducing comments to the technical requirements, but also through the submission of their solutions for the test and validation program in TIP, which had already issued more than 15 batches, what is the way that TIP is qualifying compliant solutions with the technical requirements defined by the project groups. We have also gone through more than 20 commercial trials and deployments only on last year with technical recommendations of OOPT. And we have a flagship product, which is commercially available at the scale, which is the disaggregated cell-site gateway, which was developed in 2019, and up to date, more than 27,000 units has been already deployed in the industry. We are, of course, targeting more this year. We want more commercial grade deployments, not only on DCSG, but also on other technologies, which I will go through it a little bit later during the presentation, and also getting mature about the technical requirements and introducing new technologies. In the next slide, you will see which is the ecosystem, the companies that are following this journey in the Telecom Infra Project OPT community. Next slide will show which is the structure of the different project or subgroups that we have within the project. And here I'm going to spend a little bit of time just to describe a little bit the ecosystem. So bottoms up, we have disaggregated open routers subgroup, including the disaggregated cell-site gateway and the distributed backbone routers, which is another important activity and technology which is getting traction as well in the industry. And on the optical transport side, the disaggregated optical systems at the bottom, fostering solutions for packet optical transmission and 400G and 800G coming soon. White boxes development for optical transport. The physical simulation environment is another subgroup which is dedicated on the publication of open source physical impairment validation algorithms, which can serve to build open and vendor agnostic management applications that will allow the deployment of these disaggregated systems in the network. On top of that, the mandatory use cases requirements for SDN transport, or MAST, is an operator-led initiative around management and SDN requirements for the IP and optical architecture for the management of these two layers on the transport segment, and on top of them, the Mantra subgroup, which is the newest and also the more focus on the innovation and introducing new technologies and ideas into the pipeline of OPT. To the next slide, we can see which is the methodology that this project group follows in order to introduce technology, definition of use cases, modeling of technical requirements, standardization actions where applicable, test and validation or technical validation through different stages. Bronze is for requirements compliance evaluation, silver, and then gold for lab and field trials and commercial deployments grading, and finally activation, supporting RFQs and also field trials and giving visibility to the deployment of these open and disaggregated technologies. To the next slide, we can see a very packed slide, but it shows in a graphical way which is the progress of the different tracks. So we can see that we already have reached the activation or the commercial deployment phase on different activities, including DCSG, and distributed backbone routers, but also on the Cassini and coming soon on the Phoenix as well, hopefully this year. On the Mantra and Mass side, we are on the test and validation phase, different levels, validating the compliancy of the different components of the SDN architecture towards the defined requirements by the leading operators in these subgroups. Next slide, please. This is the areas of growth for 2024, or which is the highlights that I can share with you on the latest updates from the community. The master group is updating the northbound interface requirements, which are based on the Transport API, SDN, Open API, and it is updating the version which is going to be required for this type of controllers in the future. GMPY has been adopted by the mass operators as well as part of the reference architecture, reference SDN architecture, and the first set of use cases using this vendor agnostic planning tool technology has been defined. They will be released soon, approximately next month or so. We also have on this optical transport SDN management area the development of new models in OpenConfig, which are also going to be released soon. We have had recently public endorsement from important suppliers on this community, which is also endorsing the adoption of this technology by the industry. And last but not least, we are planning to release a new work stream within the disaggregated open routers about the aggregation router. So we believe that this is one of the missing pieces within the transport chain, which is not yet covered by technical requirements in OOPT, and we are very excited to work on this new in this new trend, which I believe there is a high interest from community members. Next slide. We are starting to talk about the topic of today, which is this new IP over WDM initiative sponsored by the Mantra subgroup, where we are trying to assess how the coherent pluggable market can achieve a plug-and-play model through the introduction of technical requirements which will help the standards or the adoption of the standards. In short, we want to evaluate the adoption of the SIMIS model or coherent management interface by the pluggable vendors and the router host suppliers, and also the integration of open APIs for the management based on SDN paradigm. These two pieces will bring a very interesting business opportunity for the disaggregated segment, where competition and interoperability will be the key areas which TIP and specifically OOPT will try to foster in the future. So we are starting with this proof of concept, which of course is going to be a little bit more developed by IP Infusion later today. We have these objectives of evaluation of the open interfaces. We are gathering together a very nice vendor ecosystem composed by IP Infusion in UFI space, providing the software and hardware for the router platform, and then NEC and Sienna as coherent pluggable vendors supplying CR plus coherent pluggable optics up to 400G. A part of the vendors is very important that this initiative is driven by operators participating on this subgroup in Mantra, among others, Telefonica, Vodafone, Telia Company, Orange, Deutsche Telecom, MTN, and NTT has been signing the first set of use cases and also the scope of this initiative. We expect to basically answer a few questions over this specific activity. How does the optical coherent pluggables will be seamlessly integrated in IP over WDM routers or capable routers through a standard and open fashion, which are the gaps that they are existing on standards that are being analyzed through this activity, namely the SIMES interface and the OpenConfig management interface, and basically which are the challenges that are presented to this open integration and how the community can help on speed up the industrialization of these technologies. And we are going to end the presentation with a call to action. We are releasing the content themes for Fyuz on the next month. We are going to be disclosing more information about what is going to be expected in this conference, which is happening in Dublin this year. For those that you don't know, Fyuz is the third time that the TIP is organizing this event, where we are trying to disclose the latest updates and innovations around open and disaggregated solutions. So, well, Eugenia, Kelly, you can go next. Hope that you enjoyed the talk.
Thank you so much, Arturo, for providing such comprehensive overview of what OPT is doing. And Kelly, you are a co-lead in one of the project groups.
Yes, in fact, also we have just completed phase 1 of TIP's Mantra POC. So we've been so eager to share the results and where the industry is headed in this webinar.
Absolutely. Let's dive in. So let me move the slides, and the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Eugenia. Thank you, Arturo. So yes, indeed, we have completed phase 1 now of TIP's Mantra POC. So we are here to share the details. So for the next slide, you can see our agenda for today. So I will share an update on IP Infusion and our products and use cases. And then Prasanna on my team will share an update on the TIP Mantra POC. And we believe this POC demonstrates the future of telecom with innovative solutions, including open standards networking for optical transport. As you know, we are a gold sponsor at Fyuz this year, and we look forward to seeing everyone in Dublin in November. So for the next slide, I'd like to introduce you to IP Infusion. So we were founded in 1999 to provide commercial-grade, hardware-independent network software solutions. And our OCNOS network operating system product family addresses major networking markets, including service providers, data centers, and OEMs. And all of our customers have selected the path of network disaggregation with our software. We have over 600 customers now and tens of thousands of carrier-grade deployments. And we have been proud to be with TIP from the beginning as part of the Open Optical Packet Transport Project Group. And our flagship OCNOS product received TIP Gold Badge certification several years ago based on our disaggregated cell site gateway solution. And for the next slide, you can see our client roster. So this is a sample of our customer list. You will recognize many of these logos. We sell OCNOS software directly to network operators, including service providers and data centers. And we sell our source code to network equipment manufacturers, which we're helping them to build their networking equipment. And as you can see, some of these companies are building the world's most popular products with our software. And for the next slide, so a little bit about why customers choose IP Infusion. So we provide a single network operating system for end-to-end use cases. So as you can see here, it's the same network operating system providing solutions for access, aggregation, transport, and data center. So we give our customers a choice of hardware, including over 50 platforms from TIP ecosystem vendors such as EdgeCore and UFI Space. We're also certified to work with over 200 optics. And we have now our own element management system, which is called IP Maestro. This is a GUI-based product that provides point and click for OCNOS networking. So you can now have point and click Ocnos networking on your choice of white box hardware. And we sell our software and full bundle solutions, including software, hardware, and optics with 24/7 support. Next slide. Ocnos is well recognized in the analyst community. So for the 4th consecutive year, GigaOM has awarded Ocnos as the market leader and outperformer in the NOS Radar report. So here you can see where we stand, outperforming all of the traditional equipment incumbents. We are also rated as the most mature and field-tested disaggregated platform on the market today. Next slide. Okay, so a little bit about our Ocnos use cases in more detail. So as you can see with our end-to-end solution, we have solutions for mobile backhaul, access networks, aggregation and metro networks, routed optical networks, and data center networks. So our Ocnos scales from 32 gigabit per second platforms to over 25 terabit per second platforms with the same software. We also work with your choice of 400 gig ZR/ZR Plus optics, which is the use case that we're going to be speaking about more today. And next slide, please. Okay, so a little bit about the use case that we are going to be sharing today. So this is our Ocnos service provider use cases with 400 gig ZR/ZR Plus optics. The use cases include interconnecting data centers, service provider long haul, and internet networking with existing open line systems. So the big picture vision here is plug and play optical networking modules for low cost, high performance equipment for service provider and data center networking applications. Our software and open networking software will be a very important piece of this puzzle. And IP Infusion is the sole software vendor to drive this application with our hardware partners in the TIP Mantra project today. So for the next slide, here you can see our current list of qualified and commercially available 400 gig ZR/ZR Plus optics with Ocnos, running on hardware platforms from EdgeCore and UfiSpace. And our TIP Mantra POC Phase 1 includes the UfiSpace 9510, which you can see on as the top right box on the bottom. This is an 800 gigabit per second platform with a Qumran 2A chipset. And in this solution, we have Ciena's 400 gig ZR Plus optics. And in phase 2 of the POC, we will additionally add UfiSpace's S9610. This will increase the scalability with a 14.4 terabits per second platform with the Broadcom J2C Plus chipset, as you can see here in the bottom right of this page. And in this phase 2, we will also be adding the NEC optics. So through the bundling of Ocnos on the white box hardware and with the 400 gig ZR/ZR Plus optics, we can save customers money by bringing the functionality into the router itself and eliminating transponder equipment. So the value proposition here is obvious, it's clear from the get-go, and we've been looking forward to sharing the results of putting this into the POC for tests. So with the next slide, I'm going to turn it over to Prasanna, and he's going to review the proof of concept in detail. And this POC evaluates the integration and efficiency of IP over DWDM architectures in modern telecom networks. And as you can see, we're bringing together leading telecommunications company to explore this technology's potential benefits. And Prasanna, over to you to give us the summary in more detail.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. So as this project, what we are seeing is that in the networking industry, the bandwidth is growing, more than 35%. So this actually requires, the more power saving and space saving technologies. So in this case, what we have seen is that, one side we have a packet network and another side we have optical networks, and we are bringing them together in a single device. So the optical pluggable module is coming into the IP network device. So the innovations on both the sides, so one is on the network side and another one is the optical side, right? So both have increased their capacities, okay? And on the network side, we have a disaggregation coming into the place. And on the optical side, a lot of innovations are happening in the optics to achieve the long reach and miniaturization of the optical modules, standardization of the modules. So all these things, reduces the capex for anyone who is deploying these devices. Okay. So in this use case, so what we are seeing is that, multiple, the independent open entities, such as, the disaggregated network operating system, and then the open compute hardware from the UFI space, and the CMIS compatible open optics from the Sienna. So all these three entities are coming together, to address the need of the network of the high demand bandwidth. Okay. So in the first phase, what we have done is that, on the UFI space S951028 DC box, right? So we have loaded IP Infusion OCNOS networking operating system, and we have put Sienna ZIO Plus module. So this time on the phase one, we have used the low power modules. Okay. And we have demonstrated that, the NOS is able to read the optical modules, and it is able to the moderate the modules, right? So it is able to configure the different speeds and the different modes available. And we have also demonstrated that, the CM with the CMIS module, we are able to read the alarms, and then any performance monitoring, so also capability advertising. So all these things we have demonstrated. So the first part is the detection part, and the second part is that, can we do a, the identification of the module, right, and the running state of the module, and can we change the modes from 400 gig to 100 gig, and can we split the cable right into the 4 into 100 gig, right? So all these things. And again, when it comes to the optical modules, there will be many more parameters to set and verify. For example, grid spacing, channel number, laser frequency, wavelength. So all these, we have experimented in this POC. And also, treating this pluggable module similar to a network interface. So that is a greater thing, the advantage we get. The moment you plug in the optical module, it becomes an IP interface. So we can just either configure, treat it as an L2 interface or an L3 interface. In case of L3 interface, just configure IP address and try to see that, we are able to communicate over it. So all these things we have experimented, and in some cases, the practical cases, right? So the standard modes may not work. So in that case, we can update with the, the non-default values, and then, we can make it to work for a given environment. So all these things have been demonstrated in the POC first phase, and it was a very successful thing. And we thank, all our partners like UFI Space, Tape, and the Sienna. And the next phase is going to be interesting because, we are going to bring in, more capacity box S9610 UFI space box, right? So which is going to give, the 14.4 terabytes. So which can actually sit in the end of an aggregation, and it can help to promote a lot of long reach use cases. Okay. And also in the Sienna, next thing, we are bringing in the high power optical modules. So that will help in for a more longer reach, let's say more than 400 kilometers plus, right? And we are also going to test, the open config integration developed in the OCNOS network operating system. And we will also showcase IP Mastro element management system. So in this case, and we will also showcase, how streaming telemetry works. Okay, streaming telemetry is a very important aspect in terms of, how open pluggable is able to do it, right? And how NOS is going to interact with that. And so all these things we'll be able to see. And along with this, we are bringing in one more operator, optics. So NEC. So NEC will be joining along with the Sienna. So we will demonstrate with both the pluggable modules. So this is going to be interesting. So please wait for the results of the, the phase 2. Thank you.
This been very interesting.
Thank you, Prasanna. Yes, I was going to say we're looking forward to having phase 2 in our lab and sharing the results as well. So back to you, Eugenia.
So I can't believe how much progress the team made just since last Fyuz. It's absolutely amazing. It's exciting. There are some questions that have been submitted. So let me start with Arturo. So how does TIP manage vendor participation in the mantra proof of concept? Can you elaborate on that, please?
Well, I think that this is a very important question. So TIP is an open community, and we had TIP procedures for the different processes and activities that we have around the project groups. So back in 2023, the Mantra subgroup released a questionnaire, a set of technical requirements to the whole project group in order to get availability of the technical solutions and the standards that we are actually putting in practice in this POC. There were submissions were tracked, and basically the technical committee within the Mantra was selecting the most promising which solutions that they were actually fulfilling the requirements that has been also described in this latest set of use cases that has been delivered alongside with the announcement of the proof of concept. Nevertheless, this activity is not, let's say, close to new members to participate. We are glad to actually had IP Infusion today, actually illustrating how it has been going, the first execution of this activity. I think that it's important to highlight that IP Infusion has been pioneering this project and has been proving to be open and disaggregated by complying with the set of standards that has been indicated by the technical requirements defined by the operators. So this is how it has worked, the process, and I would like to insist that the project group is still active. We have other partners interested on the activities, and if you are looking at this and you are interested to explore a participation, please contact us and we will be discussing within the community.
That's a really great point. Thank you, Artur. It's membership@telecominfoproject.com, the email address. And there's also a form on the website, and you can join OPT or you can join any other project groups. And if you join OPT, you might be the success story like IP Infusion. They are now a leader in the open optical networking. And now there's a question for you, Kelly. Okay, so the question is, do you have a roadmap for optics qualification?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So we have at IP Infusion, we have a roadmap and we qualify optics in every OCNOS release. So that's what we do on our side. But I think even as interesting, this is an open ecosystem. That's the whole promise of TIP. It's the whole promise of IP Infusion. So we have our partners who also qualify new optics in their labs. And this allows us to expand our uses cases together with the partners all globally across the world. Everyone has different requirements in different regions. And so we work with our global partner base to make sure we're qualifying the right optics in the right places.
That's excellent. So TIPS POC, it's all about qualification as well, right, Artur? So, but people wonder what happens after POC is completed.
So I'm going to actually link it with a speech from Kelly. It's really important that we enter on the certification phase. So TIP is ready for that. As soon as the proof of concept phase will be completed, all the conclusions will be collected, and it will be written in the form of technical requirements and test plans, which will pave the way for test and validation, official test and validation activities within TIP, which will be similar to the different batching process that has been occurred on DCSG, DDBR, or in the MAST activities. this is how we plan to proceed.
Perfect. So in the badges, they can be bronze badges, silver badges, or gold badges. Can you maybe describe a little bit, how they differentiate?
Absolutely. So we start with the requirements compliance phase, which is leading into the bronze badge qualification. Then we move into the lab testing, which is qualified by an official test plan produced at TIP, gathering or translating the technical requirements that has been defined into the test cases. And once this phase has been overcome, operators and vendors had the opportunity to disclose their activity towards commercial deployments. And TIP also grades those vendors which fulfills or has already been graduated as silver badge, but also shows their specific activities towards the deployment of this solution in real networks. So that will lead into the final qualification, which is the gold badge.
Great answer. And Kelly, IP Infusion has a few badges.
Yes, in fact, we were proud to receive our first gold badge years ago, at the very beginning with our OCNOS deployments for the this disaggregated cell site gateway use case. And yes, I can say anyone who's considering whether to do the qualification effort to get a gold badge, absolutely do it, because the whole promise of TIP, the whole promise of our open ecosystem is interoperability. And if you go through the testing and you demonstrate your interoperability, it really provides enormous credibility with the customers that they see you've gone through this rigorous testing and shown the interoperability, because as we all know, the world is heterogeneous. So there is no single vendor solution today, and this TIP badge really helps to demonstrate that you've done the work and you understand the environment.
That is a fantastic answer. And now let me switch gears. So November 11th through 13th, where are we all going to be?
Fyuz.
Dublin.
Dublin, yes. So, Kelly, I'm going to ask you first. So, and I know we're a few months away. We still have to go through the holidays this summer. But what are you looking forward at Fyuz? And maybe you can tell us a little bit what you're going to be showcasing at Fyuz.
Oh, we are in momentum mode. So we are in our drumbeat up into Fyuz. So first of all, we are looking forward to having our phase 2 of the TIP Mantra POC, as we'll be also discussing the results and our solutions for IP over DWDM with our customers. And so one of the topics that we've been sharing at IP Infusion every month, every week, is customer momentum. Customers who are transitioning from legacy equipment or incumbent equipment into a disaggregated networking approach. So we've been sharing the success stories and best practices along the way. So we're going to be bringing those customer success stories to Fyuz.
And that's fantastic, because Fyuz, we're going to be 3 days. The first day, we're going to be talking about deployment stories. They will be showcased on main stage, and then the breakouts. Then the second day, as a part of the overall acceleration theme of the event, we're going to be talking about how we accelerate business. And on the last day, we're going to be talking about innovation, how we accelerate innovation. And there's a lot of innovation, especially with AI happening in the open transport space. So, same question to you, Artur.
Well,
what OPT is going to be showcasing at Fyuz? What are we be talking about? Give us a little preview.
Of course, I was going to say exactly that we start from the most vibrant and hot topic today, which is AI, how this is going to be transforming the transport networks. We want to listen about the estimations from the telecom operators on how they are planning to increase their capacity, which is the new architectures they want to introduce. We wanted to also see how these new paradigms of coherent pluggables within routers and IP over WDN can be transforming the transport networks architectures, how we are collapsing features, which are the successful case studies, which are the first deployments and quick wins that operators are taking on this. And at the same time, we are not going to be forgetting about distributed backbone routers. We wanted to see which are the impact of these solutions in real networks. We want to understand cases from operators deploying this technology. We wanted to also see what's going to be the next step on optical transport disaggregation, which are the key requirements that the industry and the challenges that they need to face and solve on the coming years. And I think that it all goes through integration, certification, standardization, and OPT is going to be, of course, a central part of all this ecosystem. So all of this we are going to be looking at Fyuz.
Absolutely. I'm really, really excited. It's a new venue. It's beautiful. The trade show floor is on the first floor. We have acceleration stage there. Beautiful venue. Lots of great networking. Agenda is shaping up fantastically. We're looking at all the submissions that we got for Fyuz. They closed last week, and they are fantastic. And especially having sponsors and partners like IP Infusion showcasing their innovations and talking about what they're doing in open optical is icing on the cake. So thank you very much, Kelly, Arturo, Prasanna, especially Prasanna. You stayed late to do this webinar. We enjoyed this session. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. And we'll see you on the next LinkedIn Live and hopefully at Fyuz in Dublin as well. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for hosting.